Hey gang, it's Squill. And much like Fiona and Cake, the Graybles episodes are a pretty iconic staple of Adventure Time. These have never been my favorite types of episodes ever, but I think they're a fun way to showcase the characters and their various personalities, to the point where you could probably introduce someone to the show using these episodes. They're sort of similar to the 22 short films about Springfield episode of The Simpsons, though on a much smaller scale. I totally could have done a video ranking all of the Graybles episodes, but I thought it would be more fun if I ranked each and every individual segment, all 29 of them. But don't worry, I plan to rank the episodes themselves at the end in case anyone was interested in that. This list will include all of the segments from the first 4 Graybles episodes in seasons 4 through 6, the Graybles All Sorts shorts that aired between seasons 6 and 7, as well as the table segments from season 8's Fiona and Cake episode, 5 Short Tables. Crazy how this is the second Adventure Time ranking video in a row that includes this episode. So with all that said, here is every Adventure Time Grayble segment ranked. At number 29, we have Grayble 14. Oh boy, a lemon grab one. Admittedly, I'm probably biased here because Justin Roiland is a horrible piece of shit who belongs behind bars. But even that aside, I just find this one to be annoying and unfunny. Lemon Grab can be obnoxious enough on his own, but having to deal with 2 Lemon Grabs yelling and screaming at each other is borderline insufferable. This one does at least get points on the creepiness factor. It definitely nails its unsettling vibe. But it feels like all shock, no substance, and I definitely wasn't looking forward to getting to this one when I was rewatching all of the episodes for the sake of this video. At number 28, we have Table 1. This one basically just consists of Fiona and Cake talking about narrative flapjacks. I know this is just meant to set up what Fiona and Cake are going to be doing for the rest of the episode. Some of the other Graybles episodes do that with Finn and Jake, but those are usually funny or interesting. This is just kinda boring. The dialogue here between Fiona and Cake just isn't as memorable or as clever as the typical Finn and Jake conversation, and because of that, the whole conversation just falls flat for me. Number 27, Table 3. This one's okay, it basically just consists of one joke, that being that Flame Prince accidentally sets books on fire and Turtle Prince freaks out about it. It's not terrible, but easily one of the most forgettable segments on this list. I guess the punchline that he just wanted to use the bathroom is a little funny, but eh. At number 26, we have Grayble 5. This one's also just kind of okay. I really like the Finn and Jake high five at the end, it's very memorable. But I don't really care for LSP's story here. I'm not rooting for her, and I don't find her throwing basketballs at people particularly funny. Just kind of a whatever final segment for the episode, definitely the weakest of the first Graybles episode. Number 25, Table 4. This one definitely gets points for bringing back Donald Glover, and I actually really like just how differently Marshall Lee is written by Ice King compared to Marceline. The way that Marshall Lee is written here feels a lot more in line with Marcy's characterization at that point in the show than the way Marceline wrote him in Bad Little Boy. And that's all fine and good, but unfortunately I still just don't find this segment to be all that funny or interesting. It's just another table segment that I find very boring and forgettable. Number 24, Grayble 20. This one's cute. I like seeing Cuber as a baby, and it's cool that he got his own segment. But like with most of the segments in Graybles 1000+, it's mostly there to aid Cuber's story, and isn't really all that interesting on its own. Cuber himself is a very fun and likable character, and it's always nice seeing him introduce and close off an episode. At number 23, we have Grayble 12. People always get on PB for being a fascist dictator or whatever, but her real biggest crime was taking Cinnamon Bun's nightlight. I mean, come on, who does that? But yeah, this one's alright. It's another one of those segments that just sets up a story that's gonna be paid off later on in the episode, so it's not really all that interesting on its own, but it's still alright. Number 22, Grayble 16. This one sort of just pay off to the first 2 segments of this episode, so like with the last one, there's not really a ton to say about it on its own. I really like this Jake nightlight and wish I owned one myself, and this newspaper gag is very cute. Number 21, Grayble 18. This one's like 30 seconds total, but they're a good 30 seconds, so I'm not complaining. I love the implication that Ice King regularly wakes up with a broken leg, and Tom Kenny's delivery on, "Hello, how are you?" is really funny. Number 20, Table 5. I really love the way this segment begins with Flynn the Human, Jock the Raccoon, and the Ice President. I just wish they took up more of the segment, or if we got to see other alternate versions of Finn and Jake. But the rest of the segment is decent enough too. The fight between Fiona and Ice Queen, while not too memorable, is a little fun. I love Ice Queen's response to Fiona asking her if she wants a flapjack portrait. It feels very much like a Season 1 Ice King joke. Here's hoping these characters show up again in the Fiona and Cake miniseries. Number 19, Grayble 1. It's a short and sweet little segment. BMO talking to football is very cute. Although the fact that BMO's introducing himself to football here is definitely contradicted by his Distant Land special. Not that that's too big of a deal or anything, I just felt like pointing it out. But yeah, it's a fun little segment. Not something I'd base an entire episode around, but still very cute. Number 18, Grayble 10. This is basically just an extended version of the last segment. Not much to talk about here other than BMO sipping the tea and short-circuiting being really funny. Number 17, Grayble 7. Another one I don't really have too much to say about. I just like seeing Marcy in more casual situations. Love the animation on her riding the giant's finger. At number 16, we have Grayble 17. Love the Finn, Jake, and BMO banter in this one. Jake is so sassy in this one, I love it. Love that it also continues the trend of Jake only being able to think of sandwiches. Number 15, Grayble 4. This one is stupid as hell, and that's why I love it. Ice King sending Gunter away because he kept farting is super messed up, but very funny. I can't tell if this punchline is stupid or brilliant, it's great. At number 14, we have Grayble 19. This one's a little weird, coming 13 episodes after PB pulling the plug on all her cameras in the cooler. But whatever, it's still fun watching Starchy trying to evade PB's tracking device. But I've always felt so bad for this poor creature. They don't even die. They're just left suffering for 1,000 years. Jesus Christ. But yeah, pretty funny segment despite all that. Number 13, Grayble 2. Definitely one of the most iconic Grayble segments, and for good reason. It's fun watching Finn and Jake constantly one-up each other in terms of their high fives. And it's pretty cool how their story carries through the rest of the episode. The first of many great Finn and Jake segments to come. Number 12, All's Well That Rats Well. Finally, a Grayble's All Sorts segment. It's fun watching BMO do his daily routine in this one. My favorite part of the episode is definitely watching BMO get all mad at the rats in the flower. It's so funny. Aggro BMO is best BMO. Number 11, Have You Seen the Muffin Mess? It's cool seeing PB exiled from the Candy Kingdom here. It's a really fun dynamic that I really wish we got more of in Season 7. Although it's a little weird how Gumball's cabin gets destroyed here. Did she rebuild it, or is this just non-canon? It's also cool how this segment is sort of a continuation off of All's Well That Rats Well. I really wish all 4 of the All Sorts segments were connected to each other instead of just these first 2, but it's still cool. I love seeing Finn desperately try to help while he's so clearly not up for it. This ending is random as hell, but really funny. Number 10, Grayble 11. This one is just ridiculously wholesome. I love seeing Finn and Jake pretend to build a time machine for Jake Jr., it's so sweet. I also like the commentary here on father-daughter relationships. How a lot of children end up out-maturing their parents as they get older. It's a feeling I can sort of relate to in a lot of ways. Not the funniest segment ever, but one that always puts a smile to my face. Number 9, Table 2. This is the only segment from 5 Short Tables that I can say that I love. I love how well Prince Gumball is able to reflect PB's hubris and ego here. I also love a butterscotch butler, the butterscotch Scottish butler. Besides Marsha Lee, she's probably my favorite character within the Fiona and Cake universe, and I hope she shows up in the spin-off. A really fun and exciting segment overall. Number 8, Grayble 13. I don't really have much to say about this one, it's just really funny. I love seeing Ice King try to negotiate with his penguins. He should have never given those penguins the right to vote. If I see anyone hating on Blimby's Who Got the ABCs, we are not friends. Number 7, The Gift That Reaps Giving. Fun fact, this is actually Miguel Ferrer's last role as Death on Adventure Time before passing away in 2017. So this is a nice little send-off for him. Another fun fact, we also hear Life humming the song from the short In Together Again, which is a cool attention to detail. Anyways, this is just a really sweet short about Death trying to get a birthday present for Life. Death is a character who never got a ton of screen time, so it's cool that they chose to dedicate an entire short to him. I love how he contemplates killing a little girl just to get her mixtape. Out of all of the segments on this list, this is easily the one that could have been extended to a full-length episode the most. Maybe we could have seen Finn and Jake try to help Death hunt down the San. Ah well, still one of my favorites regardless. Number 6. So, do you like them apples? Awkward title, but my favorite Grayble's also short regardless. This is another one that's just really funny, great ice game shenanigans all around. I love how he just expects this pig to just spit up his ribcage. Hilarious ice cane logic. But the short really gets good when Marceline comes in. Much like their scenes together in Bad Little Boy, I just love seeing Ice Cane and Marceline interact with each other casually, removed from all the drama that comes with their relationship. Don't get me wrong, the baggage between Marcy and Ice Cane is easily one of the best and most compelling aspects of the show. But seeing the two just hang out without even bringing up their past at all really shows just how much Marcy's grown to care for Ice Cane, removed from the person he once was. Very sweet and funny short overall. Number 5, Grayble Sits. You know, it's funny seeing just how many people first learned the story of Jack Horner from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, when us Chad Adventure Time fans had known about it since 2012. It's really funny seeing Finn and Jake so blatantly misinterpret the story. Back when this episode was new, me and my friend would constantly stick our thumbs and stuff and quote Finn and Jake saying, "Oh, what a good boy am I." I've also always found this gross toad to be really funny too. Hilarious segment and great start to the episode. Number 4, Grayble 3. This one is just very creative. I love seeing the great lengths PB will go to just to make the perfect sandwich. Only for Cinnamon Bun to just throw it up without even tasting it. A lot of cool visuals in this one, making it one of the most memorable Grayble segments overall. Number 3, Grayble 9. Ice Cane marries his foot in this one. It's really dumb, but really funny. I just love how giddy and excited Ice King gets over the idea of marrying his foot. It's oddly adorable. This punchline is so dumb, but it gets me every time. Number 2, Grayble 8. I have no idea how this one got past the censors, but the fact that Tree Trunks actually thought she was being flipped off by the statue is really funny. And the fact that Tree Trunks is so offended by it that she feels the need to go to the police and try to clean up the streets is just comedy gold. Sassy, no-nonsense Tree Trunks is best Tree Trunks. This segment is definitive proof that Tree Trunks stories are at their best when they're the most ridiculous and absurd. And my favorite Grayble segment is Grayble 15. We stan Mr. Fox on this channel. 10 out of 10 character. Something about Tom Herpich's casual-sounding voice, combined with how mundane he is as a character, just makes him so damn likable to me. Love his delivery on "almost got me right in my both eyes." This segment really is a character-defining moment for Mr. Fox. It's the first time we really get a look at his lonely, mundane lifestyle. There's something kind of sad about the way he talks up this empty, dirty-looking house. It's still funny, of course, but you definitely feel bad for the guy, especially once Cinnamon Bun comes in and wrecks it all up. It's just a very quiet and melancholic segment overall that feels very unique. Definitely my favorite Adventure Time Grayble. So that was my ranking, however, we're not done quite yet, as, like I said earlier, I still want to rank all 6 of the Grayble's episodes. So let's get to that now. Number 6, 5 Short Tables. I already talked about this one at greater length in my Fiona and Cake ranking, so I don't really have much to add here. It's not a bad episode, but I find most of the segments to be just kinda boring. Number 5, 5 Short Graybles. This one has a pretty decent selection of segments, but with the exception of PB's, none of them really stick out to me. But still, a very solid first entry in the series. Number 4, another 5 more short Graybles. I really wanted to put this one higher since it has my favorite segment in the series, but it also has my least favorite segment, so it kinda balances out to being around the middle. There's some really great segments in this one, and others that are just kinda eh. Number 3, Grayble's All Sorts. These shorts definitely have an advantage in the sense that they're about twice as long as the average Grayble segment. All 4 of these segments made it into the top half of the list, which is very impressive. Again, I do still wish there was something connecting these shorts like the other Graybles episodes, but on their own, these are all still great shorts. I recommend checking them out if you haven't already. They're all free to watch on YouTube. Number 2, 5 more short Graybles. If I were to rank these based on the actual segments and not the episodes as a whole, this would definitely be number 1. A whopping 3 out of 5 segments in this episode made my top 5. That's crazy. And the other 2 are pretty solid as well, there's no real duds here. However, I wouldn't call it my favorite. That honor goes to Grayble's 1000 Plus. Unlike the other Graybles episodes, the segments themselves kinda take a back seat in this one. Instead, we mostly watch Cuber try and outrun a bunch of space cops. Again, ranking these based on the segments, this one would definitely be a lot lower on the list. But I just love exploring the future of Ooh, and I think Cuber makes for a very fun protagonist. The way the segments are incorporated in the story is very fun too. A banger episode overall. Please let me know what your favorite Grayble segments are in the comments, and have a good one. Squill out.